Where are you going so fast?
God knows.
Then wait. Let's have a...
That strongbox has me utterly upset. This is the worst of many, many shocks.
Was there some fearful mystery in that box?
My poor friend Argus brought that box to me with his own hands in utmost secrecy. 'Twas on the very morning of his flight. It's filled with papers which, if they came to light, would ruin him. Or such is my impression.
Then why did you let it out of your possession?
Those papers vexed my conscience, so I thought it best to leave them with my pious guest. The cunning scoundrel got me to agree to leave the strongbox in his custody, so that in case of an investigation, I could employ a slight equivocation and swear I didn't have them, and thereby, at no expense to conscience, tell a lie.
Oh, it looks to me as if you're out on a limb. Trusting him with that box and offering him that deed of gift were actions of a kind which scarcely indicate a prudent mind. With two such weapons, he has the upper hand, and since you're vulnerable, as matters stand, you erred once more in bringing him to bay. You should have acted in some subtler way.
Just think of it. Behind that fervent face, a heart so wicked, a soul so base. I took him in, a hungry beggar, and then... Enough. By God, I'm through with pious men. Henceforth, I'll hate the whole false brotherhood and persecute them worse than Satan could.
Oh, there you go. Extravagant as ever. Why can you not be rational? You never manage to take the middle course, it seems, but jump instead between absurd extremes. You've recognized your recent grave mistake in falling victim to a pious faith. Now, to correct that error, must you embrace an even greater error in its place, and judge our neighbors as a whole by what you deemed of one corrupted soul? Come, just because one rascal made you swallow a show of zeal which turned out to be hollow, shall you conclude that all men are deceivers, and that there are no true believers? Let atheists make that inference. Learn to distinguish virtue from pretense. Be cautious in bestowing admiration and cultivate a sober moderation. Don't humor fraud, but also don't asperse true piety. The latter fault is worse. And it is best to err, if err one must, as you have done, upon the side of trust.
Father, I hear that scoundrel's uttered threats against you, that he pridefully forgets how, in his need, he was befriended by you and means to use your gifts to crucify you.
It's true, my boy. I'm too distressed for tears.
Leave it to me, sir. Let me trim his ears. Faced with such insolence, we must not waver. I shall rejoice in doing you the favor of cutting short his life and your distress.
What a display of young hot-headedness! Do learn to moderate your fits of rage. In this just kingdom, this enlightened age, one does not settle things by violence.
I hear strange tale of very strange events.
Yes, strange events which these two eyes beheld. The man's ingratitude is unparalleled. I save a wretched pauper from starvation, house him, treat him like a blood relation, shower him every day with my largesse, give him my daughter and all that I possess, and meanwhile, the unconscionable knave tries to induce my wife to misbehave, and not content with such extreme rascality, now threatens me with my own liberality by taking base advantage of gifts I gave him out of Christian love, to make me a ruined man and make me end a pauper as he began.
Poor fellow.
No, no, my son, I'll never bring myself to believe him guilty of such a thing.
How's that?
The righteous always were maligned.
Speak clearly, mother. Say what's on your mind.
I mean that I can smell a rat, my dear. You know how everyone hates him here.
That has no bearing on the case at all.
I told you 100 times when you were small that virtue in this world is hated ever. Malicious men may die, but malice never.
No doubt that's true, but how does it apply?
They've turned you against him with a clever lie.
I've told you, I was there and saw it done.
Oh, slanderers will stop at nothing, son.
Mother, I'll lose my temper. For the last time, I tell you, I was witness to the crime.
The tongues of spite are busy night and noon, and to their venom no man is immune.
You're talking nonsense! Can't you understand? I saw it! Saw it! Saw it with my eyes! Saw! Do you understand me? Must I shout it into your ears before you'll cease to doubt it?
Appearances can deceive, my son. Dear me, we cannot always judge by what we see.
Drat!
One often interprets things awry. Good can seem evil to a suspicious eye.
Oh, was I to take his pawing at Elmire as an act of charity?
Till his guilt is clear, a man deserves the benefit of the doubt. You should have waited to see how things turned out.
Oh, great God in heaven, what more proof did I need? Was I to sit there watching until he... You drive me to the brink of impropriety.
No, a man of such surpassing piety could not do such a thing. You cannot shake me. I do not believe it, and you cannot make me.
You vex me so that if you were not my mother, I'd say to you... some dreadful thing or other.
It's your turn now, sir, not to be listened to. You'd not trust us, and now she won't trust you.
My friends, we're wasting time, which should be spent in facing up to our predicament. I fear that scoundrel's threats weren't made in sport.
Do you think he'd have the nerve to go to court?
I'm sure he won't. They'd find it all too crude, a case of swindling and ingratitude.
Don't be too sure. He won't be at a loss to give his claims a high and righteous gloss, and men with far less valid cause have trapped their victims in a web of laws. I say again that to antagonize a man so strongly armed was most unwise.
I know it, but the man's appalling cheek vexed me so I could not speak.
I wish to heaven that we could devise some truce between you or some compromise.
If I had known what cards he held, I'd not have roused my anger by his little plot.
What is that lady looking for? Who is she? Go talk to her and tell her that I'm busy.
Good day, dear sister. Kindly let me see your master.
He's involved with company and cannot be disturbed just now, I fear.
I hate to intrude, but what has brought me here will not disturb your master in any event. Indeed, my news will make him most content.
Your name?
Just say that I bring greetings from Monsieur Tartuffe, on whose behalf I've come.
Sir, she's a very gracious dame and bears a message from Tartuffe, which she declares will make you most content.
Upon my word, I think this dame had best be seen and heard.
Perhaps she has some settlement to suggest. How should I treat her? What manner would be best?
Control your anger. And if she should mention some fair adjustment, give her your full attention.
Good health to you, sir. May heaven confound your enemies and may your joys abound.
A gentle salutation. It confirms my guess that she is here to offer terms.
I've always held your family most dear. I served your father, sir, for many a year.
Ma'am, I must ask your pardon, but to my shame, I cannot now recall your name.
Loyal's my name. I come from Normandy, and I'm a bailiff in all modesty. For 40 years, praise God, it's been my boast to serve with honor in that vital post. And I am here, sir, if you will permit the liberty, to serve you with this writ.
To what?
Now, sir, please, let us have no friction. It's nothing but an order of eviction. You are to move your goods and families out and make way for new occupants without deferment or delay, and give me the keys.
I leave this house?
Why, yes, sir, if you please. This house, sir, from the cellar to the roof, belongs now to the good Monsieur Tartuffe. And he is the lord and master of your estate by virtue of a deed of present date, drawn in due form with clearest legal phrasing.
Your insolence is utterly amazing.
Young man, my business here is not with you, but with your wise and temperate father, who, like every worthy citizen, stands in awe of justice and would never obstruct the law.
But
Not for a million, sir, would you rebel against authority. I know that well. You'll not make trouble, sir, or interfere with the execution of my duties here.
Someone may execute a smart tattoo on that black jacket of yours before we're through.
Sir, bid your son be silent. I'd much regret having to mention such a nasty threat of violence in writing my report.
This Dame Loyal's a most disloyal sort.
I love all men of upright character. And when I agreed to serve these papers, sir, it was your feelings I had in mind. I couldn't bear to see the case assigned to someone else who might esteem you so less and subject you to unpleasantness.
what's more unpleasant than telling a man to leave his house and home?
You'd like a short reprieve? If you desire it, sir, I shall not press you, but wait until tomorrow to dispossess you. Splendid. I'll come and spend the night here then, most quietly with half a score of men. For form's sake, you might bring me just before you go to bed the keys to the front door. My men, I promise, will be on their best behavior and will not disturb your rest. But bright and early, sir, you must be quick and move out all your furniture, every stick. The men I've chosen are both young and strong, and with their help, it shouldn't take you long. In short, I'll make things pleasant and convenient, and since I'm being so extremely lenient, please show me, sir, a like consideration and give me your entire cooperation.
I may be all but bankrupt, but I vow I'd give 100 louis here and now just for the pleasure of landing one good clout right on the end of that complacent snout.
Careful. Don't make things worse.
My bootsole itches to give that beggar a good kick in the britches.
Madame Loyal, I'd love to hear the whack of a stout stick across your fine broad back.
Take care, a woman too may go to jail if she uses threatening language to a bailiff.
Enough. Enough, ma'am. This must not go on. Give me that paper, please. And then be gone.
Well, au revoir. God give you all good cheer.
May God confound you and him who sent you here. Now, mother, was I right or not? This writ should change your notion of Tartuffe a bit. Do you perceive his villainy at last?
I'm thunderstruck. I'm utterly aghast.
Oh, you mustn't take offense at this new proof of his benevolence. He's acting out of selfless love, I know. Material things enslave the soul, and so he kindly has arranged the liberation from all that might endanger your salvation.
Will you not ever hold your tongue, you dunce?
Come, you must take some action, and at once.
Go tell the world of the low trick he's tried. The deed of gift is surely nullified by such behavior, and public rage will not permit the wret to carry out his little plot.
Sir, though I hate to bring you more bad news, such is the danger that I cannot choose. A friend who is extremely close to me and knows my interest in your family has, for my sake, presumed to violate the secrecy that's due to things of state, and sends me word that you are in a plight from which your one salvation lies in flight. That scoundrel who's imposed upon you so denounced you to the king an hour ago, and, as supporting evidence, displayed the strongbox of a certain renegade, whose secret papers, so he testified, you had so disloyally agreed to hide. I don't know just what charges may be pressed, but there's a warrant out for your arrest. Tartuffe has been instructed, furthermore, to guide the arresting officer to your door.
He's clearly done this to facilitate his seizure of your house and your estate.
That man, I must say, is a vicious beast.
Quick, sir, you mustn't tarry in the least. My carriage is outside to take you hence. This 1,000 louis should cover all expense. Let's lose no time, or you shall be undone. The sole defense in this case is to run. I shall go with you
Alas,
away and place you in a safe refuge to which they'll never trace you.
dear boy, I wish I could show you my gratitude for everything I owe you. But now is not the time. I pray the Lord that I may live to give you your reward. Farewell, my dears. Be careful.
Brother, hurry. We'll take care of things. You needn't worry.
Gently, sir. Gently. Stay right where you are. No need for haste. Your lodging isn't far. You're off to prison by order of the prince.
This is the crowning blow, you wretch. And since it means my utter ruin and defeat, your villainy at last is now complete.
Oh, you needn't try to provoke me. It's no use. Those who serve heaven must expect abuse.
Oh, you are indeed most patient, sweet, and blameless.
How he exploits the name of heaven. It's shameless.
Your taunts and mockeries are all for naught. To do my duty is my only thought.
Your love of duty is most meritorious, and what you have done here is little short of glorious.
All deeds are glorious, madam, which obeys his honor who sent me here today.
I rescued you when you were destitute. Have you forgotten that, you thankless brute?
No. I well remember every tort. But my first duty is to serve the court. That obligation is so paramount that other claims beside it do not count. And for it, I would sacrifice my wife, my family, my friend, or my own life.
Hypocrite!
All that we most revere, he uses to cloak his plots and camouflage his ruses.
If it is true that you are animated by pure and loyal zeal, as you have stated, why was this zeal not roused until you'd sought to make Orgon a cuckold and been caught? Why weren't you moved to give your evidence until your outraged host had driven you hence? I shan't say that the gift of all his treasure ought to have damped your zeal in any measure, but if he is a traitor as you declare, how could you condescend to be his heir?
Sir, spare me all this clamor. It's growing shrill. Please, carry out your orders, if you will.
Yes, I've delayed too long, sir. Thank you kindly. You're just the proper person to remind me. Come, you're off to join the other boarders at the king's prison according to his orders.
Who? I, ma'am?
Yes.
To prison? This can't be true.
I owe an explanation, but not to you. Sir, all is well. Rest easy and be grateful. We serve a prince to whom all sham is hateful, a prince who sees into our inmost hearts and can't be fooled by any trickster's arts. He honors righteous men of every kind, and yet his zeal for virtue is not blind, nor does his love of piety numb his wits and make him tolerant of hypocrites. With one keen glance, the king perceived the whole perverseness and corruption of his soul, and thus high heaven's justice was displayed. Betraying you, the rogue stood self-betrayed. The king soon recognized Tartuffe as one notorious by another name, who'd done so many vicious crimes that one could fill 10 volumes with them and be writing still, but to be brief, our sovereign was appalled by this man's treachery toward you, which he called the last worst villainy of a vile career, and bade me follow the impostor here to see how gross his impudence could be and force him to restore your property. Your private papers by the king's command I hereby seize and give into your hand.
The king by royal order invalidates the deed which gave this rascal your estates, and pardons furthermore your grave offense in harboring in exile's documents.
Heaven be praised!
I breathe again at last!
We're safe!
Leave the dangers past.
Well, traitor, now you see.
Ah, brother, please. Let's not descend to such indignities. Leave the poor wretch to his unhappy fate, and don't say anything to aggravate his present woes, but rather hope that he will soon embrace an honest piety and mend his ways, and by a true repentance move our just king to moderate his sentence. Meanwhile, go kneel before your sovereign's throne and thank him for the mercies he has shown.
Well said. Let's go at once and gladly kneeling, express the gratitude which all are feeling. Then, when that first great duty has been done, we'll turn with pleasure to a second one, and give Valere, whose love has proven most true, the wedded happiness which is his due.